Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Vinyl Den, your channel for record collecting by record collectors. I'm Nick. Today I'm checking out something I thought I'd never see, and that is an official pressing of Live at Pompeii by Pink Floyd. There's a bunch of links down below. You got links for the Vinyl Den Facebook group, for the merch page, for the Spotify and Apple Music playlist that I put together every week, and the Patreon page. So make sure you check all that out. Like always, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button down below, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I release new episodes. Pink Floyd is known as one of those innovative bands in rock music, especially in the late 60s and early 70s. They were doing a lot of things that a lot of other bands out there weren't doing. So in 1972, the band played a concert in an empty Roman amphitheater in Pompeii. And it was originally recorded to air on TV, but was eventually turned into a theatrical release and a soundtrack. And because this was recorded in 1972, it would make sense to release this on vinyl. But no, the band never released it. Finally, 50 plus years later, we finally got an official pressing of it. It has been bootlegged a bunch of times over the years. I actually do have an unofficial pressing of it that I picked up a few years ago. So the only thing I really have to compare this to is I do have the CD version of the Pompeii show on CD that came in the early years box set, which was almost a decade ago that came out. And comparing this to that, I actually thought this one sounded really good. Unofficial pressings they're really kind of a mixed bag. Some of them do sound good, some of them do not. But as far as like comparing this one to that CD, I think the CD sounded better, but this one sounded, I would say, comparable to that CD. But Live at Pompeii was one of those albums that I never understood why this wasn't released, at least officially released. I mean, I know there's a lot of infighting in Pink Floyd, and there has been for, almost 50 years at this point. And because the main feud in Pink Floyd was between Roger Waters and David Gilmour is like the head of Pink Floyd after Roger left the band in the early 80s, I think Pink Floyd really tried to stay away from really anything that Roger was involved in. I think that was probably the major driving force in why this was never released until now. And then last year, Pink Floyd sold the rights to their catalog, and it gave me hope at that time that, hey, maybe we'll start to slowly see some of the stuff getting official releases. Because it's not just this. There's other stuff from Pink Floyd that has never been available or hasn't been available in a very long time that I'd love to see them press. I think the big one for me is there anybody out there, which was The Wall live in 1980 and 1981. It's something else that has never been available on vinyl. It was released on CD back in the early 2000s. It's been bootlegged multiple times on vinyl since then. I actually do have a bootleg copy of that also. But hopefully now that we've got Pompeii out of the way and officially pressed, hopefully we'll get a pressing of that also. There's also some great live shows from the Animals tour that I'd love to see officially pressed on vinyl. There's some other stuff in the 70s that I think has been long overdue to get released on vinyl. But to my surprise, I actually had a hard time finding a copy of this album. Initially I thought I pre-ordered it through Amazon, so I would have it on release day, because that's always a big thing for me. If I'm not going to go out to the record store, I want to get a copy of it on release day. Ordering it from labels and from bands, sometimes there's it can be like a 3 or 4 up to a week delay sometimes. So I wanted to get a copy on release day. Amazon's typically pretty good with that, so I thought I pre-ordered it through there. And to my surprise, the day before release, I hopped on Amazon, and I know I put it in my cart. I know I hit order one time, but I must not have went through and fully completed the order because it wasn't listed on there. I thought to myself, hey, I'll just get up in the morning, go to my local record store. I'm sure, it's Pink Floyd. I'm sure there's going to be tons of copies available of this. But to my surprise, every single store in my area within like a 45-minute to an hour drive from me, all of them were sold out. So I finally accepted the fact that I was just going to have to order through Amazon and just wait a couple of days for it. But then I decided before I finalize my sale, I'm going to go through and just double check all the stores just to make sure I didn't miss anything. And then I saw that there's a record store in Ann Arbor called Underground Sounds. To my surprise, it said on their website that they had 10 copies in stock. And that was the only store in my area that had it. So not only did I pick this up on vinyl, I also picked up a copy of it on Blu-ray. But as far as the audio goes, it's all newly remixed and remastered by Steven Wilson. It's all half-speed master at Abbey Road. So I figured this was going to sound really good, but I still wanted to do a comparison between it and that unofficial pressing I had. One thing I noticed right away was the track listing on the unofficial pressing is completely different than the soundtrack. But whoever pressed this, they did a really good job with it. I mean, as far as like unofficial pressings go, there's been at least 15 or 20 pressings of Pompeii that I've seen over the years. As far as like jacket wise, this is the best looking one. I do like the artwork on the front of it. It is a gatefold also, which I'll show you the pictures on the inside of the gatefold. But as good of a job as they did with this, it still doesn't compare to the quality of this official pressing. And as I expected, with every other Pink Floyd release that they've done over the years, they do a great job with the packaging on this one. I love the artwork of it. There's the back cover, and then the gatefold is actually pretty similar to that to unofficial pressing that I've got. Just pictures on the inside there. But something that's kind of cool is, and something I just noticed when I was going through the album here, is on the inside. It might be kind of hard to see on the camera there, but on the inside of the jacket, it's almost like I'm assuming it's like lava from Mount Vesuvius. If you know the story of Pompeii at all, that's kind of cool. It's those little touches that I think really adds to a release. And I do like that the albums didn't come in those cheap paper sleeves, even though printed inner sleeves aren't always the best either. I was happy to see there wasn't any scuffing on either one of the discs, but it did come in nice printed inner sleeves. There's the sleeve for disc 1, and then here's the sleeve for disc 2. And this also comes with a big full-size poster, which I'll open up and show you what this looks like. And when I say this is a big poster, I mean it is a big full-size poster, a lot bigger than a lot of the other posters you get in typical releases. And then the albums, I already cleaned them up, because of course I already listened to this. I cleaned them up and put them in nice anti-static sleeves. But it's all on black vinyl. There's disc 1. It's got a cool picture on the back side of it. And then it's pretty similar for disc 2, just a slight color difference, and then it's a different picture on the back side of it. I guess I should add that this didn't fit in a standard sleeve. I had to go with the bigger 12 3/4 inch sleeve. This was just a little too tight for the 12 inch, which is why I always keep a packet of those bigger sleeves on hand, because I feel like I've been using more of those lately. But yeah, just keep in mind, if you're gonna put this in a sleeve, you might need a bigger one. But as far as the sound quality goes for this new pressing, like I said earlier, I thought that unofficial pressing sounded really good, but doing like an A-B comparison between that and this, I mean, there's just no comparison between the two. It is definitely a night and day difference. I mean, I think this is probably one of the best jobs remastering and remixing that Steven Wilson has done. And for being a live recording from over 50 years ago, I mean, Steven Wilson worked his absolute magic on this one. The dynamics are unbelievable. I actually think this sounds even better than the CD version that came in the early years box set. I think the only real issues that anyone's going to find with this album is more in line with the recording process of it, the way the instruments were mic'd back in 72, which some of that stuff you really can't fix even with today's technology. And this is absolutely the way this album should sound. Anyone that was involved in the remixing and remastering, I mean, they did an absolutely perfect job on this one. I guess my only complaint I have for this release is the fact that Echoes is split up into two halves, and I get it. It bookended the theatrical release. That's how it was on the original soundtrack. I mean, it's a beautiful version of that song. It's probably my favorite version of it. That version of Echoes is probably, worth the price of this album in and of itself. But, it would have been nice to have it combined in one song. But, like I said, they're trying to stay true to the original release, and that's why they did it that way. Something I never talk about on the channel here is the fact that I've got a growing collection of Blu-ray movies, so of course I want to grab this on Blu-ray also. My complaint about this is, you spend $30 for this, and it comes in this like paper sleeve. I mean, put it in the standard Blu-ray case if you're going to do this release. I haven't had a chance to watch this yet, but all the reviews I've read have all been unbelievable. I mean, I've watched this on YouTube multiple times over the years. Of course, you're watching on YouTube. It's never going to compare to what it looks like on Blu-ray. I'm sure this is going to look incredible. My only complaint is just the packaging on it. The packaging is pretty similar to what it is for the LP version of it, other than the fact that on the LP the colors are reversed on the front of it. It's got the same back cover, and then on the inside it's just pictures off of the printed inner sleeves. And no, it doesn't come with a poster or anything like that, but it does have a booklet that comes with. And I think all the pictures in here, so you got credits in here, you've got some pictures. I think all the pictures are from the inside of the jacket on the LP version. And then the sleeve for the actual movie is the same as the sleeve for disc 1 of the LP. And then this has just says feature film and concert. So that's the cool thing about this is not only does it have the theatrical release, it also has just the concert on here too. So, depending on what you want to watch, you got both versions of it. Well, that's all I got for you today, guys. Thanks for checking the show out. Make sure you drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think of this release. Have you picked up a copy of it? Have you listened to it yet? It's all available on streaming. If you're not going to pick up a physical copy of it, at least go on there and stream it because it does sound great. Stephen Wilson did a fantastic job with it. I'm glad to say that I can finally replace that unofficial pressing I have. I probably will sell that one off. This is easily the definitive version of this album to own. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Like always, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. And that's all I got. Until next time, keep on spinning. Peace.